AOC. AOC, another one of the goddesses in the pantheon of modern leftism. Another icon and quasi-religious figure, depending on who you're talking to. She is opening up about how ever since the January 6th insurrection, she has been going through therapy. She's had a very difficult time. She still has not recovered from that trauma.
After the 6th, I took some time, and it was really Ayanna Pressley when I explained to her what had happened to me, like the day of, because I ran to her office. And she was like, you need to recognize trauma and that this is something that you went through, but we're all going through. And it's really important to pause after that, because that's how you process it. And I feel like I learned this the hard way after my father had passed away when I was a teenager. So that happened to me at a young age, and I socked it away. And I had to live with that for years.
So you're doing therapy?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm doing therapy, but also I've just slowed down. I think the Trump administration had a lot of us, especially Latino communities, in a very reactive mode.
I have no doubt that AOC endured suffering as a child, as a teenager when her father died. Coincidentally, there's very strange parallels between my life and hers, because we grew up in the towns right next to each other at exactly the same time. And I also lost a parent when I was a teenager, and it's a very difficult thing. I do not in any way minimize the trauma and suffering of that. You like to think that time heals all wounds, and over time you can get over that and go on, move on, and live your life. So I hope she can do that. I've no doubt that's a real trauma. I don't think that January 6th was a real trauma for her, because she lied about it. Let me be more specific. She exaggerated it. You can't say she lied, because all she ever talked about was her feelings. She said, I felt as though I was about to be killed. I felt as though my life was at risk. So sure, I guess that's your feelings. I can't disagree with what you felt subjectively, but she never was at risk of dying. She wasn't even in the Capitol that day. She was across the street, or rather down the street. It was a bit of a walk away. She was in her office building, and no one busted in there. It was actually a cop who came in to protect her. And she's milked this for all it's worth. And she says, I'm just in the trauma. I'm so broken. I've had to slow down. I'm in the therapy for this. I can't. It's hard to process, and it's really traumatic. We are exalting weakness and brokenness in this leftist culture. We are exalting these things. We are actually trying to find ways to claim that we are broken, hurt, aggrieved, disordered, unstable. It's got cachet. It's got social currency. If you are really that messed up, if you're really that shaken up and you can't handle it, you should not be in government. You should not be in political leadership. You got to be tough. It's hard, but you got to be tough. You got to move on. You got to chin up, stiff upper lip, and move on. No matter, look, everybody goes through traumas. Everybody goes through suffering. Sometimes it's real, like AOC had when she was a teenager. Sometimes it's contrived, like she exaggerated in her office building on January 6th. But whatever it is, maybe she felt terrible on January. I don't know. Chin up. You got to cut this out. We've got to stop mutilating ourselves ideologically, philosophically, physically. We've got to stop mutilating ourselves and taking things that are relatively healthy and making them weaker, and having social currency for grievance, and all trying to grab grievance and weakness. We've got to get strong. If you're not going to be strong, you're not going to have a flourishing country. You're going to be mutilating America. All right, now that I've got your attention, ring the bell. Ring the bell, subscribe, like, make sure that you get the notifications. While you're at it, by the way, head off of YouTube and go on over to our podcast apps, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Make sure you subscribe. We've heard there's some shenanigans going on with our subscriptions and our shows on those apps. So just to make sure that there's no glitches or anything like that, head on over, subscribe. If you wouldn't mind, leave a 5-star review. We'll see you next time.